Hey, look at that. We're back again. Another Tuesday night. Just time to hang out and enjoy what's going on. Uh, as usual, we're just going to hang out, chat. Got any questions, comments, concerns? Go ahead and toss them out there and we'll see what we can do. Um, it's National or World Vegetarian Day. I was able to avoid vegetables all day long. Didn't touch one all day. So I think I've got that under control. Don't.
Yeah, how is that different than any other day?
It's not. Hey, I eat vegetables occasionally. Potato's a vegetable, right?
I think
So
so.
I had vegetables yesterday. So and I had yeah, wait a minute, I had pizza for lunch. So no vegetables on the pizza. There was cheese and pepperoni and sausage. Okay, so uh, now that we all know what I've had for lunch, and my wife has made her comments for tonight, we can get on with shop stuff or whatever you guys want to talk about. I see that there's a few people in here. I'm supposed to go ahead and say that the super chat is active, so don't hit the super chat button, please. Uh, Maybe if there's 100 people in here chatting, it makes sense to hit the super chat, but it doesn't when there's three. So, what do you guys want to talk about tonight? I don't have any specific topic in mind, as usual. Well, occasionally I come up with a topic, but tonight nothing. Had some bad news here in town last evening or yesterday afternoon. Um, I happened to be our offices are on a barge floating in slip in the bay, and right in front of us we lease a spot to the fire department. Hey Daniel, thanks for making a comment. Glad to see you joining in. So, anyways, the fireboat has a slip right in front of us, and I was down there doing some work, and here come the fire engines. Two engines pull up. The guys hopped on the boat. They were gone out into the bay in 3 minutes. Unfortunately, a small boat capsized in the heavy waves on Lake Superior, and one gentleman passed away. Um, didn't make it to shore. The other two guys on the boat did make it. They were able to pull them out, but one gentleman didn't make it. So my condolences go out to his family, and always hate to see that. But Lake Superior this time of year is a dangerous place to be. Um, uh, everybody talks about the large waves in the ocean. Hey, Robert, how you doing this evening? And everybody just talks about the ocean. Well, you get onto the Great Lakes, and Lake Superior in particular has it was only 4 foot waves, but they're very close together. It's a short wave pattern, and they do a lot of damage very quickly. And in this case, looks like probably the boat went sideways and got swamped, and down it went. Boom. Uh, no real time to react. So for all of you who sail out in Lake Superior, just be careful and keep an eye on the weather because those waves can get you. So let's see. So get on from the sad stuff. We'll find something happy. Nah, I don't have anything. So other than the fire department really put their new $750,000, $800,000 fireboat to good use yesterday. So it is a beautiful boat. It's made by I believe it's Attack Boats over in Superior, Wisconsin, and just an absolute beautiful boat. They've been in business for quite a few years now, and they just make a beautiful aluminum work service. In this case, a fireboat. Um, so it's a beautiful piece of equipment. Two 300 horsepower Mercury outboards, all drive by wire. They can actually use the GPS, and like the computer will hold that boat directly in whatever position they tell it to. It's really just kind of an amazing piece of equipment. I got a nice tour of it by the firemen earlier this summer. So it's just like I said, it parks right in front of our offices, so you get to see it all the time. Dilly Dally Dalco, machine and welding service. Well, welcome to the channel. I haven't seen you in one of our chats before, so welcome. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, want to tell me how everything I do is extremely dangerous and I don't take enough safety precautions, just go ahead and say it, and I'll ignore you, and we'll just move on from there. Uh, One of my prime things is that everybody's in charge of their own safety precautions, and everybody needs to make their own choice on that and not be told what to do by somebody who's on a keyboard somewhere. So yeah, some of the stuff, tacking without a mask on. I don't know a welder out there who hasn't done that, doesn't do that. Um, and of course, oh my God, I'm welding without gloves on. you know, yeah. Occasionally a spark burns you. Not a big deal. Okay, I've been at this for 40 years now, and you know what? I got some scars on my arms and my hands. I've got way more scars on my arms and my hands from other stuff, not welding. So good to see that. Dilly Dally Dalco. That's a tough one to say. I hope you don't make me say it 10 times in a row. I have to ask, what's behind the name? That's a very interesting choice of names. I'd really like to know what was behind that choice. So let's see. Got some video shot over last weekend. Not a whole lot. A little bit of stuff. Nothing overly exciting, except for I do have a video coming out that shows that not every project turns out the way you intend, and sometimes you have to stop and rethink and reapproach a project maybe more than once. So I've got that, and then I shot another video. I wasn't going to shoot a video of it. It's a Modine hot water hanging heater with a fan on it, and got it for free, and decided that I was going to take it apart and clean it up and check for leaks, and found it had a leak. So went ahead and shot a video of repairing that leak and then putting it back together. And I still need to get some photos of it being installed. I'm going to put it in the basement of our home. It's got a couple of baseboard heaters down there, hot water baseboard heaters down there right now, and it doesn't do a very good job. So we're going to upgrade to old school. So that's on my to-do list this week. Just haven't gotten to it yet. So hey, Jose, thanks for joining in on the channel. Good to see somebody else joining us here. So usually these live streams, for those of you who are new, usually run about an hour, maybe a little bit more, depending on how interactive it is and how tired I get. I'm old. I got to get to bed early, Yeah, that's not going to happen. So, but it is what it is. Usually like to run an hour or a little bit over on these. So, and let's see what else is going on. Talked a little bit about upcoming projects last week. So I'm not going to go over too much of that again. If you guys have any project ideas, anything you'd like to see, go ahead and either leave them in the comments here or comment on another video. I do read all the comments. Don't always respond, but I read everything that comes in, good and bad. I got thick skin. Doesn't bother me when people may leave comments that aren't nice. That's just part of life. You just gotta take it and just keep on keeping on. Did I just flash back to the 70s there somewhere? Keep on keeping on. Jeez. Showing my age. Oh, dead air. Don't want that. I can do the peace sign too. So.
All depends on where he's from. Could be something different.
Yeah, unfortunately, the screen is so small that I cannot see. Ah, clapping. Okay, thumbs up and clapping. Right back at you, Jose. So, yeah, so got to watch a little bit of YouTube over the weekend as well, and actually found a show I used to watch on the History Channel, Connections. Guys, with James Burke, kind of an interesting take on history and progress and inventions, and kind of an interesting show to watch. There's three different series, I believe. There's Connections, Connections 2, and Connections 3. So they're all pretty much the same, with the same host. So it's kind of interesting finding that old show on YouTube and getting a chance to watch some of those old episodes again. I think I watched 3 or 4 of them over the weekend. Uh, Other than that, I spent a lot of time in the shop, a lot of cleaning this time around. It's not a whole lot of video time, not a whole lot of project shooting, but I did get a lot of stuff cleaned up from the last few projects. So it's always a chore to keep the shop clean and in a workable condition when you're doing other stuff. I got that new compressor. I've got to get that installed because it's not in its place yet. It's wired in and feeding air, but the old compressor is still in its spot. So I need to get the old compressor unbolted from the floor and get the new one in there and get that hooked up and get that replumbed sometime soon. But winter's coming and there's a lot of winter. Um, I do snow removal, so you got to be available 24/7, pretty much from the first snow all the way. Well, we had our last snow here in May. We got 10 inches. I think it was on May 8th, I believe. Yeah, we got 10 inches of snow on May 8th. Granted, it didn't last long, but that's late for the season for even us. Hey, Skelton, how are you doing tonight? Thanks for joining in. So, yeah, so I'm going to be snow removal again this winter, and that kind of limits the amount of shop time I get and the amount of energy I have to do other stuff because snow removal usually means getting up at 2 a.m. and running for 12, 14, 16 hours, depending on how much snow we get and equipment breakdowns and everything else. It's amazing how badly moving a little bit of snow what it can do to equipment over a longer period of time. Snow gets really heavy, so so well, it's good to see somebody from a different country in here. That's kind of interesting. A couple years ago, I had a couple Australians who were hanging out in the live stream for a couple of episodes. So, hello back from northern Minnesota. You probably don't get a whole lot of snow where you're in Mexico. Um, the shop work is kind of died down a little bit. I kind of backed off from doing shop work. Got to that. Unfortunately, had to do that insurance thing, and so I had to take a job that has insurance. So not nearly as much shop time as I used to have. Uh, so, but I got I'm usually in the shop 3 weekends a month. As winter comes in, that'll slow down a little bit. Um, the shop is about 40 miles, 45 miles from where I live, maybe closer to 50 now. Yeah, about 50 from where I live now. So it takes about an hour to get out to the shop and an hour back. So unless I've really got to do something on weeknights when I have to work the next day, I usually don't go out to the shop. There are times where stuff has to get done, so I'll go ahead and do it, but not as much as I used to. Oh, that's interesting, Skelton. Where exactly is it that you're from? So snow in late May, almost June, and then 80 degrees in December. Yeah, that is crazy weather. Well, when you're looking for me, if you're in Australia or South America, that'd be normal. So let's see what else is going on. Like I said, if you have any project ideas, something you'd like to see, I am going to hopefully this winter get the belt grinder finished up. It's been on hold for quite a while. Other projects had to jump in front of it, and like I said, I started limiting my shop time, so had to get important stuff done, and toys could wait. And yeah, I like my day job a lot. It's every day is something different. It's commercial building maintenance, and we've got about 10 buildings that we take care of. So every day is in a different building. And right now we're doing a major build out on a commercial space, and we're doing all the framing, the drywall, fit all the finishing, installing the cabinets. Machine rebuilds are always good. Yeah, I've got some equipment that has a few things that need to be rebuilt, and so those videos will be coming up. Uh, Started on the Toolcat, and then unfortunately we needed the Toolcat at work, so it got hauled out of the shop and has been gone and is not back yet. I'm hoping to get it back next week or the week after, so I can finish the stuff up so it's ready for snow. Need to replace some hydraulic hoses still, um, and there's some rust in the floor pan that needs to be fixed, and one body mount that is just about rusted away. And so that needs to be replaced too. That machine was used from new as a snow machine primarily, and so it's seen a lot of salt and slush and snow. It was primarily used as a sidewalk machine in the downtown area. So we're and carried around a lot of salt in the bed and did all that before they decided to retire it. That's a cool profession. I had looked into being a millwright at one of the um, steel or taconite plants here in Minnesota, and just because of the drive time from where I live, it just didn't pan out. I would have we would have had to move closer, and not something that we really wanted to do. Moving to a smaller town, and we like the size of Duluth. It's, the Duluth area is about 150, 160,000 people, which is just about the right size for a city, if you ask me. That's Duluth and the surrounding communities that are actually touching on four sides or three sides. So there's everything's pretty tight, and if you look at the map of Duluth, it's kind of a strange city. It's 36 miles long, but it's only 5 miles wide. It runs along the river and Lake Superior, the river, the bay, and Lake Superior. So it's kind of a interesting way to lay out a city. So, but it's a good place to live, unless you don't like hills, because everything's on a hill. There's not a whole lot of flat. You're either going up or you're going down or you're going sideways, one or the other, or one of the three. Yeah, millwright work is. Yeah, any of the I think any of the repair trades, from mechanic, auto mechanic through heavy equipment mechanics and maintenance on heavy machinery, all that is it takes its toll. It really does. I know that I feel it every day now. Got a stressed ligament or tendon in my right arm, and been dealing with that for 2.5 months now. So it makes things a little tough, but you just kind of push through it and just keep right on working, and not enough to keep you out of work, so you just keep going. Of course, if I didn't have that attitude, maybe I wouldn't hurt so much. At some point, I realized, probably in my mid 40s, that I shouldn't always lift something, even though I can. It might not be a good idea to do it by myself. Of course, I learned that a little bit late. So if any of you guys are young guys, when you see something heavy that needs to be moved, find somebody to help you do it. Or find some equipment to help you do it. It's not always the best idea to just grab something and lift it. Or push it, or pull it, or whatever it happens to need doing. Hey, Ghoul, welcome on to the channel. Sweetheart, can you refill that for me, please?
I will in a minute.
Okay. No, that's not booze I'm drinking tonight. It's grape juice, so with calcium in it. Chain falls are good. Hydraulic lift tables are really good. I need to get another one. I was just talking. I don't remember if it was last week or the week before. One of the guys who hangs out, comes into the chat quite often. He was here earlier, just stopping to say hi. He had to run. He's getting a plasma table, and we were talking about it. A buddy of mine has a plasma table, and what he does is he took a hydraulic lift table, and he mounted rollers on rollers like big conveyor rollers on each end of the lift table, so he can roll it right up to his truck, pull a sheet of steel right onto the table, go and then roll it over to his plasma table, adjust the height, and then slide it right onto the plasma table. No lifting involved. So I thought that was a brilliant idea. I tried to get him to send me some pictures that I could share, but he hasn't gotten back to me yet. So I don't know if he doesn't have any, or if he's just not talking to me anymore. Anyway, it's a good way to move stuff if you can do it. Those hydraulic lift tables, Harbor Freight has them. They're not that expensive, and they'll save your back. And as long as you're taking something from a higher surface and moving it to another surface, they're really good. It's unfortunately, they're 6 inches off the ground, so if something's sitting on the ground, you still got to get it up onto the table, which is a good thing. What a chain fall's good for. You can pick stuff up, set it on the hydraulic lift table. So I used to have one myself, and the cylinder blew out, and I think the mechanism bent. I got it at an auction really cheap, and I don't think it was a very good one to begin with. So that may be an upcoming video. I might be building a heavy-duty hydraulic lift table. So kind of working the plans through in my head. Either that, or I'll buy a cheap Harbor Freight one and I'll modify it into a heavy-duty lift table. So, hey, what do you guys think? Upgrade or build? Go ahead and mention in the comments. Yeah, I've been looking at those too. They're kind of pricey for a home shop. Yeah, of course, I've got my jib crane, and it's only 500 pounds. It was built mostly, in fact, almost entirely to lift stuff like the chucks and equipment onto the mill and the lathe. So that's what the jib crane was built for. That's why it's not any heavier. It doesn't need to be any heavier for what I need to do. It also does a really good job of lifting the generator in and out of the back of my truck. Used it for that a couple of times, and I actually lifted a snowblower up onto the work table with it, which was kind of nice because what I used to do is put the ramps on and drive the snowblower or lawnmowers up onto the work table, so you can work on them at the right height. Way better than trying to work on some of that stuff on the floor if you can have it at tabletop height, especially if you're working on gearboxes and whatnot. So kind of nice to be able to bring it up to a workable height instead of having to bend over to the floor all the time. So jib crane definitely has come in handy. I recommend that everybody get some kind of lifting stuff for their shop. I did see an interesting setup. I don't remember. I don't think it was on YouTube. I think it was on a website somewhere where a guy took a 2-post lift, vehicle lift, and he built a table that had ramps up both ends that sat on the lift arms, so you could put stuff on that and lift that to any height that he wanted. All right, so Dilly Dally Dalco says upgrade an existing table. Okay, well, I will definitely look at that, see what best way to go about that is. So I'll have to source one and then decide what's going to be the best way to upgrade it. New ram, new lift arms, maybe air over hydraulic, so you don't have to pump anything. It'll just push a button and hook up the air and push a button and it'll go up. So I'll have to see what kind of upgrades we can do to one of them. Kind of like the idea of air over hydraulic. Either that or maybe a electric pump on it. 12-volt electric pump with a battery. That's a possibility too. So, but definitely want to make sure that it's designed to take a lot of weight. Most of them, the ones that I looked at, I think are usually about 1,000 pounds. So half a ton, half a U.S. ton. Don't ask me what that is in metric. I'm old school. So, but yeah, maybe look at doing some upgrades, get it up to okay, air over hydraulic. Which is great long as you have air, but if you take it somewhere else where you don't have air, then maybe something else would be handy. Of course, it also gives me another reason to run an air line to the front of the shop so I can run an air hose off. And I've got, in some of my videos, you can see it hanging off the front of the loft. There's a black tube coiled up. That's 150 feet of half-inch air hose that I can plug in. Manual crank. Built that many years ago. When I got that hose, it's actually 2 75-foot sections. So I can get air a long ways from the shop if I need to. Figure that's is it 20? It's about 20 feet into the shop, so I can reach 130 feet outside of the shop with that one. And of course, you can always add more to it. Of course, you get some loss over that distance, but I'm trying to remember what I originally bought that long hose for. It was something I had to. And I needed the big air compressor in the old shop to run something. I can't remember what it was, so I had to buy a lot of air hose to reach to where I was working. And for the life of me, I can't remember what it was. That was, good Lord, that must have been 30 years ago that I did that. So it's not like it was yesterday. Yeah, I don't remember what it was for originally, but I've used it many times over the years, and like I said, I built that uh, hose reel for it. Pretty simple hose reel. Maybe I should probably do a video on that too, because pretty simple build. Just about anybody can do it. It's mostly half-inch pipe and welding a nipple onto it. What welder would I purchase next? I've been looking at the Lincoln Squarewave 200 TIG welder to replace the Eastwood TIG welder. For anything else, I like that Lincoln 210 MP. I actually got it in one of our shops at work now in one of the buildings. I had to do some repair welding and brought it in from the shop and ran it with the flux core wire, and that's just such a nice little welder. It's powerful enough to do just about anything that you need to do, and it's portable. And the fact that it'll do stick and DC TIG and both shielded flux core, shielded and straight flux core wire just makes it so great to have around. It's also small, and it's got you can plug. I've used when I did the flux core welding. We don't have in that shop. We don't have a 220 outlet, so I was running it on 110 volts, 120 volts, and it performed like a dream. Granted, this is just a little repair welding, and then but was not a big. It handled everything just fine. It's so simple to use. Anybody can use it, but yeah, I want to upgrade the TIG welder, and so I'm looking at the Squarewave 200, and I've been looking at one of the HTP units. I don't remember which one I was looking at, but the Eastwood, while a good machine, is not a great machine, and the major manufacturers have added so much functionality to their TIG welders that it just doesn't have. So I was actually doing a little TIG welding over the weekend, just a quick little project, and I didn't video any of it, unfortunately. Just didn't have time. It was Sunday afternoon, and I just needed to get it done. And it was definitely showing its lack of settings and stuff, and not quite as smooth as I would like a TIG welder to be. But it's a great starter TIG welder for somebody who just wants to learn how to TIG weld. It's the price is right. It's not an expensive machine, and it will do the job for AC/DC TIG welder. So, but yeah, if I had to replace a welder right now, I'd probably go with another 210 MP just for its versatility, because it can do just about everything, and it's great for a beginner or a home shop or a maintenance shop, someplace where you are, maintenance where you have to take the equipment with you. I've run that 210 off the generator on both 110 and 220 volt, or excuse me, 120 and 240 before people start yelling at me. It's nominal voltage here in the United States. It's close to that. It's rarely exactly that. I know, because I've got some equipment in some of our buildings that are very fussy about their voltages, and had a motor controller that would not work because we were at 225 volts on that line, and it just would not. The motor controller just would not work, and so we had an electrician come in and rewire it and got it up to, I think it was 230 volts, and the motor controller works great. It's amazing what you can do with a multimeter. So got a new toy here. I'm going to reach over here and grab it. So, camera's going to move around a little bit. Sorry about that. If you're looking for a multi-processor type freak, I think the HTP. That's one of the reasons I was looking at it. Check out This Old Tony's channel. He did a review on it, on his, and seems to be a pretty darn good little machine. So, here's the new toy. Amazon again. It's a Zoto infrared thermometer, and it comes with a K-type thermocouple. So it just plugs in right on the side right here. And yeah, so now I can read the temperature across the room. The outside wall of the house is 72.1. The single pane glass is 69.3. The double pane glass is 65.3. Something wrong with that. Mm-hmm. And my wife agrees. She said there's something wrong with that. We don't have the heat on in the house yet because of that new heating unit I've got. I don't have the boiler turned on. Yep, and this one will actually go to, was it 1200 degrees Fahrenheit? 800 degrees Celsius, I believe. And that's why I purchased this one, because it does the higher temperatures. Because that's on my project list too, is to build a what's it called? Thing you melt metal in. Nope, not a forge. Boy, it sucks getting old sometimes. Brain not working the way it should. You know, they say if you look up, it'll help you remember. When I look up, all I do is see that the ceiling needs to be painted. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, furnace is a good word for it. So, anyways, that's on my list as well. And actually have that all designed and a materials list all built for it. Just comes down to time and don't have enough. Always way more projects than time. I got a list about a mile long of stuff that I'd like to do and stuff that I should do. And maybe someday I'll get to it if I live long enough. Of course, I keep telling my kids that I'm going to live forever, so I should have time in that case. Wife's over here mumbling something and giggling, so evidently she doesn't think that I'm going to live forever either. So yeah, non-contact thermometer. I actually needed it for project work. We do a lot of our buildings have steam heat still, and that comes in really handy for checking the water traps, the steam traps. So you can tell if there's water trapped in them and blocking them versus steam flowing through them. It's a quick, easy way to tell how warm a steam pipe is without having to climb up a ladder and mess with it. So you got to make sure that condensate gets out of them, otherwise they block stuff up, and then the steam heat doesn't work, and people get cranky when they come in and it's cold in the morning, and anyhow, so uh, Amazon. I can throw a link up to it, and when I do the finish processing this video, when it's over, I'll put a link to it on Amazon. It was like $36 on Prime, something like that. So not overly expensive. Good tool to have in the shop. It's nice for engine work because you can go ahead and check, say a cylinder's misfiring. It won't be as warm as the rest of the cylinders. Coil packs, if you've got coil packs, you can check the coil packs, and if it's cold, cooler than the rest of the coil packs, you know that one's not working right. So a lot of uses for it. Oh yeah, and you can annoy the cats with it too. My wife just pointed out. I haven't done that with this one yet. Uh, I wonder if the laser on that one's good enough to. They're one of the buildings that we manage. Every month we got to go through and check all the emergency lighting, and it used to be a push button you'd push on emergency exit lights, and it would turn on the emergency lighting, and it would turn on the exit light just to show that the battery's working when the power goes down. And these new ones use a laser pointer to do it, which is a lot more convenient on some of them because some of them aren't like really close to the ground. So it comes in handy. So it took me forever to find a laser pointer the first day I had to do those, though, after the building opened. Yeah, I can't remember. I think at Walgreens is where I found, Home Depot, Menards, Ace Hardware. None of them had laser pointers. So I had to go to Walgreens. It's a nice little laser pointer, though. It's got kitty prints on it. I found it in the pet section as a cat toy. Of all places. Well, guys, I'm starting to run out of steam here. It's been a long day, so I think I'm going to call it a night now and start getting ready for tomorrow, for the next day. Tomorrow's going to be fun. I get to cut in a new door in a wall. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chatting. Around same time next Tuesday, sometime between 7 and 9. This thing will get fired up and will join us. And, of course, Saturday at 6 a.m., new video coming out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join us every week. Have a great, safe week, everybody.